Hi, I'm Jaime Capitel, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Atlassian Apps here at Singular, and today I want to talk to you about a very visual topic, status colors in Jira and the opportunity that we all have currently to redesign them. And I speak of an opportunity because it's a moment of big visual change in the Atlassian platform. There's a lot of new products coming in, but also the old products are getting a brand new face, like the new Jira navigation, which is already being implemented and shown to users across the globe. And there's a very passionate debate right now. A lot of people love it. Some other users are pushing back against it because they're used to the old navigation, and that's normal. That's what we expect when there are big changes. I think we will get all used to it because technological change works like that. We get uncomfortable and then we get used to the new stuff, and it usually makes us happier. How would you feel if this was still Atlassian's homepage? This is I think the first one from around 2002, 2003. It did its purpose, it was great, but obviously Atlassian moved forward, and they are always moving forward, making us a little bit uncomfortable as we learned to use their platform in new ways. Let's go back to the topic of status colors in Jira. It's an interesting subject because it compresses a lot of the debate between change and permanence. What should remain? What should be flexible, right? Atlassian has a very simple framework for status colors that we are going to see, and this framework hasn't changed for a long time, but there have been changes that Atlassian has made to which specific colors are used for which status category. However, this is not flexible at all because customers, organizations cannot pick their own. And this has been a problem for many, as they would like to attach some business meaning to it. That's normal to be expected that customers want to do that. And at Singular, one of our mottos is to say no to standard solutions. That's why we want to be a trusted partner and help you find a way to be more flexible with your status colors and empower you in using the Atlassian platform in general in a way that fits your needs. All right, let's have a look at the actual UI of Jira right now and see what I'm talking about. So here's a team managed project I just created with a new navigation, as you can see, mostly from the left panel navigation here. And I'm going to create a couple of new statuses here. So one of them is going to be for review. And then I have to, whenever I create a new status, I have to assign a category. And this is going to be in progress. And that's blue. Any in progress status is blue for Atlassian. Once I do that, I'm going to create another one, and this will be canceled. And this is going to go into done. So it's not to do, it's in progress, and it's going to be done, which is a little bit counterintuitive, but it's progress that started, hasn't been completed. It's going into the done bin. And that's going to be associated with green. I believe you start to see why I'm saying that it's a good idea sometimes to change the colors associated with the statuses. Now, if I go into the issue itself, I can see the status and with its color, and then when I type transition, I can see the available options, and I can also see the workflow. Let's stay here for a second, because this is a good way of reflecting about this simple framework. What I'm saying is, it's not rocket science, it's a very simple design choice. Again, Atlassian chose to go with something very simple, quite intuitive, and their assumption is that gray is a good color for everything that hasn't started yet. Blue drives focus, so it's a good idea for in progress. Whereas done, green is a good idea because we associate green with success. Okay. As I said before, this wasn't always like this. I found a screenshot where you can see that this used to be a little bit different. It used to be this is about 2018. This was the UI when you wanted to create a new template in Jira, and you could see the associated workflow. To do was blue, in progress, because yellow drives focus. So they had chosen yellow for in progress because it catches your attention, and green was always associated to done. So there's been some back and forth. There are some good aspects about having in progress in yellow, and there are some bad aspects about it. But the idea here is that Atlassian doesn't let you pick, and there are some drawbacks with this. For example, a lot of companies want to have those negative down statuses in red. So cancelled, won't do, rejected, approval rejected, etc. Those are going to be better categorized as this work item failed to be completed for some or another reason. And there are other statuses that belong to the in progress category that don't actually imply progress. They can imply bottlenecks and waste. And that includes in review, that includes things like blocked or for approval. Because if you have a pure Kanban approach, and then you're obsessed with flow moving forward really fast, then your problem with this type of status is going to be that your WIP is going to be hit really soon if you don't pay attention to them, right? You don't want to put things in review and not be attentive of how many items you have lined up in that status. So it's a good idea to have that in yellow, to have blocked items even in red or in orange, to be able to really customize this just a tiny bit. So now that we have seen the framework and its lack of flexibility, let's have a look at how we can customize it. Before we go into the how-to, there are three things that you need to get started. Okay, so one is that you need to be a Jira admin or you need access to a Jira admin because we're going to do some administration tasks. The second is that Jira admin needs to install the app New Status Colors Pro for Jira Cloud from the Atlassian Marketplace. And after that app is installed, the third thing that you need is to install the browser extension for Chrome, for Edge, or for Firefox for the app. And there is a very specific reason for that. Atlassian doesn't allow to change this framework. So what we're doing here is a bit of a hack, admittedly. What we're doing is we are grabbing the UI, we are reading into it, and we're going to make some changes and just change the colors of how the browser renders the statuses. And that can only be done through a browser extension. So if you want to change the colors, you need to have the browser extension. If you want to see those colors, then every user who wants to see those colors also needs to have the extension. It's harmless, it's safe, it doesn't do anything else but change the colors. It doesn't read any of your activity or anything like that. So don't be afraid to install it and let it run. All right. So those three requirements, remember, Jira admin, obviously, install the app from the marketplace and get the browser extension. Once you have that, you want to go into the administration for the statuses. And to do that, you can just click dot anywhere in Jira and look for status. Don't go here to edit status because that will actually edit the statuses without going into the right menu. Look here into work item settings. And here is a list of every status in the instance. And what I want to do, and you can see that some of them have always been changed here. What you want to do is include the name of the color that you want to use in the description of the status. And you may be wondering, what do you mean with the name of the color? Well, how do I know the names of my colors? Well, here are the name of the colors that we use. There's 140 different color names in this standard by W3. So you can use any of these. You can also see what they look like. And you can see the hex value. This is the hex value that we use. You're going to use the name, and you're going to use the name in lowercase and in parentheses. So for example, let's go for this maroon. I'll just copy the name, go back and decide where I want to have it. So for example, in rejected. So I'm going to edit here the value. I'm going to just paste here the name that I copied from the W3 website, put it in lowercase, and put it in between parentheses. No, it's important to notice that you don't actually need to remove the description that you already have if you have one. You can just put the value of the color name at the end of it. We update, and that's all you need to do. So then already rejected will show in this maroon color. To actually make sure that it's already showing, you don't need to leave this screen, although it will already be showing in every screen. You can go to the translate statuses, because that already gives you the entire list of your statuses and shows the actual color that we are using. Note that we do some standard changes. So everything that contains weighting, we already put it in orange, but you can override this setting. All right, so I have given you the high power of changing your status colors in Jira. It's a big moment. How about we review some of the results? How is it going to look like? How are some customers using it? So remember that this used to be the kind of workflow where everything kind of blends in with the Atlassian standard. There's not a very easy way to understand what's the happy path of the work item here. And there are 3 different end statuses, but it's difficult to know what is the preferred end status by just looking quickly at this. Once you make your changes and you color negative end status in red, and for example, when status is in yellow, it's very easy to see that the happy path goes from the in progress status then through to the green status and into the one status in the end. Notice that this workflow is actually in Spanish, but you didn't need to read Spanish to actually understand what that happy path is. Workflows are accessible to every Jira user, as we saw, when they are able to transition an issue, which means that they contain very important instructions about the expectations in a process. Don't underestimate the importance of those visual cues for your users. Let's look at more examples. This is the traditional interface for transitioning work items. And it's very common for users to actually make wrong transitions when they have a list of options and all of them are green. So make sure that by coloring that discarded status into red, you're actually cueing your user in the right way. Your dashboards are also going to look much brighter, much easier to skim through. Now imagine that you are a team lead and that your dashboards are filled with lists of issues. And you want to go through these lists of issues because they give you a very granular idea of what's going on. You can dive into the details, and you also can see very quickly what the status is. But if with the old version, it's quite hard to actually understand that because you actually have to make the effort of reading every status value. Once you implement the changes, you can just skim through, and visually you are going to immediately understand what's the approximate amount of successful versus unsuccessful or waiting things that you have in your pipeline. Obviously, you can use this in any other native gadgets, and they're going to just work straight away. There's one last superpower that I want to tell you about. When you have a board that is difficult to skim through, like this one, there's something really useful in the list view. When you have the app installed, you can see that there are many issues in this list, or a number of issues in this list with different statuses. Well, by just clicking of the icon of the extension here and click on line highlighting, you're going to allow the status to just take the entire line in the list. So this is going to be really helpful for going through long lists of issues where you want to understand exactly what needs focus and what is really urgent and needs the team to dive on it. All right, that's everything that I wanted to tell you today. Remember that we have learned what the Atlassian framework for status colors is. It's a very clear and intuitive design, but it's not very flexible. So if you're interested in attaching business meaning to some of those statuses that need attention, if you need to queue users as they are going through Jira and prevent necessary errors when transitioning issues, or when you want to make your dashboards, your workflows, etc., more colorful, immediately appealing, this is an option you can consider. But no matter what you do, be careful, because changes have an impact. They can be confusing. They can be also misleading. Whatever you do, be upfront about the changes that you're doing them, explain why you're doing them, collect feedback from the users. They may have good ideas, and make sure that everyone understands and is on board. Thank you for watching, and until the next video.